Jackson Radio Show.
You know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. In any of these sessions that we have with each other, I feel like these are like bonding sessions that we have. My whole point is just for us to know more about what is going on. I'm Liz Mattori. I'm filling in for Kevin Jackson today. This is the Kevin Jackson Show on KJ Radio. You can check me out on Twitter and Facebook at Liz Mattori. But right, so did you know that there is a Antifa handbook? Yeah, it came out last year, and if anything, we are seeing Antifa happen across the country. Case in point, it says in the introduction, at the core of this complex process of opinion making is the construction of societal taboos against racism, sexism, homophobia, and other forms of oppression that constitute the bedrock of fascism. Basically, they're fabricating this concept of fascism and saying that they are, because of the election of the President of the United States, their mission is to be against what they consider is a fascist. They think that our president and the rest of us are fascists. That the last several years after the president's election, they are on a mission to counteract and counterbalance what they consider is this global struggle against fascism. And so this guy pretty much takes on Mussolini and Hitler and all these other things between then and now, and they basically are saying that, yeah, what we're seeing is fascism. And I'll read this part. Okay, so fascism and Nazism emerged as emotional, anti-rational appeals grounded in masculine promises of renewed national vigor. While political argumentation is always important in appealing to the potential popular base of fascism, its sharpness is blunted when confronted with ideologies that reject the terms of rational debate. Rationality did not stop the fascists or the Nazis. While reason is always necessary, it's unfortunately insufficient on its own from an anti-fascist perspective. So they're basically saying that they cannot reason, they cannot rationalize to counterbalance what they consider, as I said, they consider this time in our political history as fascism. So they basically are saying that violence is the only specific tool that they have left in order to counterbalance said fascism. Therefore, they are considered Antifa. And again, like we talk about this return to order, and that, again, President Trump, as he welcomes Blue Lives Matter, who would allow law enforcement to continue its harassment and murder of communities of color unimpeded. Recently, it was revealed that the FBI has been investigating alarmingly, though not surprisingly, high levels of white supremacist infiltration into law enforcement for decades. Moreover, regardless of the composition of the U.S. police force, the fact that it's developed out of the Southern Slave Patrol and Northern opposition to the labor movement gives us insight into its role in the white supremacist criminal justice system. So yeah, they are trying to basically conflate all these different iterations of history into the narrative that they want to utilize in order to galvanize support and also to basically rationalize their use of force and their use of violence. Some people have said that, the things that are happening all around the country, particularly the random bombings and the shootings and definitely all the protests and the riots, are being orchestrated by Antifa. And what is Antifa? Antifa is just anti-fascism. So what the heck is fascism? According to this guy, who's quoting another guy, and I refuse to give these people a shine, you can look up Antifa handbook yourself and see who wrote it. But anyway, it says, a form of political behavior marked by oppressive preoccupation with community decline, humiliation, or victimhood, and by compensatory cults of unity, energy, and purity, in which a mass-based party of committed nationalist militants working in uneasy but effective collaboration with traditional elites abandon democratic liberties and pursues the redemptive violence and without ethical or legal restraints goals of internal cleansing and external expansion. I have no idea what that means, but that's what they define as fascism. And so whatever is to counterbalance that is considered anti-fascism. It's the whole concept of being able to how to combat the common enemy. For that reason, it is vital to understand anti-fascism as solitary component of a larger legacy of resistance to white supremacy in all of its forms. So that's Antifa's philosophy. And so basically they think everyone who is basically against them are fascists or racists or bigots or homophobes. They literally are taking every single ideology, putting it all into one and saying, oh, all these things are fascist. And so we can do whatever we want because they are so bad and they're going to lead to horrible things that in order to stop them, we have to use violence and we need to use destruction. We need to rally the troops by any means because it's our historical sort of importance to do that in order to stop these bad people. But according to whom? Who out there? Who are these random people who, again, you don't know who the leader is. There's not a particular leader. It's a whole program to not have the same tactics, but they all of a sudden galvanize. I don't know how they organize. I really don't. But they are very organized, and we should never... They're like, they're sort of like the Taliban. I mean, if they're going to do more stuff over the next couple of months, and they're so organized, and it's against a certain state, and really it's against us, the rest of us, who is going to hold them accountable? Do they get arrested? When they came down to D.C. during the inauguration, some of them were arrested, and a lot of them were from the state of Washington. I'm sure they're everywhere. And we might see, and I hate to say this, we might see domestic terrorism increase over the next few months because they think that what they're doing is right. They think that they are, stopping fascism at its tracks because they think that our government and our president specifically and all the rest of his supporters are a bunch of Nazi fascists. That's what they think that you guys are. That's what they think that I am. So it's so irrational and it's mind-blowing, but this is literally what they think. What sort of tools do we have to counterbalance that? Because, oh, by the way, they forgot the police in their view, are considered a part of the fascist state. Every single thing that has developed as a society can be called fascist in their world. And if anything can be labeled that, anything can be killed or attacked or definitely ridiculed because they all think that they are right and we are all wrong. And I don't know. I don't know if Antifa is the Democrat Party now. I don't know if it's a wing of it. I don't know if they coordinate, but there's a whole lot of coordination going on, and we on the non-anti-fascist, not fascist group have to figure out a way out of this because they don't mind destroying our country. That's the saddest thing. They want to see our country end. They want to see our citizenship end. They think that they're in the right when we all know that they can't be right. They can't say that, okay, using violence to preeminate, to preempt fascism, because that's what they think that we are, is acceptable. But interestingly enough, one of their members in Portland said, avoid people who want to be celebrities and are driven by approval. Value people who are quiet, get work done, and are cooperative. So what do we do with the people who are literally glorifying their life because they're doing these violent acts?
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177, or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.